Yo, hello everybody. I wanted to do a quick little rundown of a macro strategy I've been running for the past week or so, and that is pretty much just Delirium and Go. That's how I've been calling it. So I just wanted to show quickly the materials that I'm using, how I'm rolling my maps, and how I'm rolling my Sextants is the most important thing about the strategy. So first of all, you're going to be wanting to buy the Mirror of Delirium Sextant. This one costs around 40 chaos to 60 chaos, depending on when you buy it and who you buy it from and how many you buy. So yeah, that is the current price in the market, so keep in mind that. And if the price fluctuates, you can always make a copy of my Excel spreadsheet, and from here you'll be able to import the price of different materials to see whether it's still profitable and what you should be looking at for each map. So yep, so quickly how I roll my maps is I chisel, I alc, and then I roll off the mods that I can't run. In my case it would be like Elemental Reflect or something like that. So I roll that off and then I val them all. So this is going to cause some of the maps to go bad. They're going to maybe get some mods that you don't want to run. So those maps, make sure to filter those out and to take them out, and then to keep the maps that are good. You know, I was keeping actually like the Elemental Reflect maps because I could still run them with the Sextant. But that's something that you should keep in mind, and you keep them on the side just in case you know, you don't want to be like wasting a map or something like that. So that is kind of how I roll my maps. And the next thing that I do is I use Awakened Sextants. The way I roll Awakened Sextants is I just put 4 on my watchstones, and then I look if any are good. And you can see here that 2 of them are not good and 2 of them are good. In this case, what I would do is I would re-roll one of them, and we got pack size on that one. And for the last Sextant, then I put the Mirror of Delirium Sextant. And that's what it's going to look like roundabout. So we're getting like 3 decent Sextants and then the Mirror of Deli Sextant, and then you're pretty much good to go and run your map. For the Scarabs, I'm using Rusted Elder Scarabs. This is because it adds like a ton of monsters to your maps. They're just very good. The Shaper Sextant, the Shaper Scarab is also decent, but it slows down your map a lot more than the Elder Scarab. So I was okay with paying, you know, 2 chaos in bulk for this as opposed to like 0.2 or something like that for the Shaper Scarab. So that's why we run the Elder Scarab. It's a lot of monsters, and you can run any tier of the Elder Scarab and it makes no difference. It's just about adding it's just about basically adding the influence to your map. Next I'm running Breach Scarab. Breach Scarab is because you can only take 3 passive skills on the tree, and you get access to Flash Breach, which is crazy. Flash Breach is really insane in regards to how many monsters it adds and how fast the breaches are. So that's pretty good. And I was always getting actually a lot of like touched rares from the breaches themselves. So this is a crazy way to get a lot of those. And it's very worth it, since the Scarab itself costs like 1 chaos in bulk. You know, people are basically throwing these away because nobody's running Breach currently. The next one is Harbinger. Harbinger is kind of terrible, but it's still good in the way that it adds like a lot of monsters to your maps as well. So that is something to keep in mind, because again, we want to add monsters to our maps and we want to add touched rares. We also want to be able to fill up our Delirium bars a little bit faster so that we get more splinters in the end. And I'm using that in combination with the Harbinger nodes on the tree, again, to add more Harbingers, and also, you know, have a chance to get like King Harbingers and things like that. The splinters themselves are still not that bad, because actually Ancient Orbs are around like 10 chaos in bulk, and people are literally buying these. You know, they're actually 14 chaos in bulk, which is insane. People do buy these, and they buy them straight away. There's like a Ancient Orb Mafia right now. People just literally sniping them straight away. It's just a gamble. I'm pretty sure they're actually making profit off rolling Ancient Orbs, but I'm not exactly sure what is going on there. And lastly, I like running the Ambush Scarab, and this is because the Scarabs are so expensive in general, and because Secret Operation gives us a chance for Operative Strongbox, which gives us a lot of Scarabs in turn, and then you can, you know, sort of like sell those Scarabs to sustain your costs and things like that. Scarabs are always worth picking up and selling in bulk, or you can just sell your entire tab on TFT. That's completely up to you how you do that. But yeah, it's always better to sell them in bulk yourself, because you can actually sell them at upsell them at like 50% extra cost. You can see here, like if I control D this, it's 2 chaos per, but if you look at the stock of like say 10 plus, it's going to be around 4 chaos. So you land about 4 chaos with people that have like actual decent stock. Yeah, you almost double the price just by having more than 10. So yeah, that is kind of the name of the game on certain Scarabs that people actually use. So that's something to be mindful of. The tree, the Alice Patches tree, I will link. This is something that I've been following, and the basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to increase the pack size a little bit by taking the effective modifier nodes. Since I am sort of alking going and spamming maps, my maps took me about 6 minutes to run each. I think compulsive order is actually pretty decent because I'm running so many maps. You have additional chances for rewards. It's not necessarily the best nodes ever, but they're pretty decent. And then Delusions of Persecution, because you can actually potentially drop a cluster jewel, a small cluster jewel, the unique ones from them, and the only one that's actually worth it is the one that gives you Secrets of Suffering. I am running Cosmic Wrath of the Cosmos with Eldritch Gaze. Wrath of the Cosmos is going to give me a lot of Eldritch Ichors and Eldritch Embers, depending on which guy you're running. When you do proc the Ichor Shrine, although keep in mind that if you are dying in these maps, it's always worth to not spec this and ditch the path through here. This is going to make your character take like 100% extra damage if you get to the end of the map. You know, if you click like 3 shrines or something, you're already pretty much dying. Don't mind the bells. Welcome to Italy. And the next one is Science. So Science is one that I really like because it adds monsters that are potentially touched in your maps. And what that does is it adds a lot of quantity to them. So potentially additional currency drops or anything like that. And another reason why I like it is because you do roll a sextant on your maps that says Tormented Betrayers drop additional scarabs, and it can be rusted, polished, or gilded. And that is a very common sextant to roll. And if you do not have Science, then you're not going to be able to actually get use of that. Although if you do have it, this guarantees that you are making use of that sextant every time you do roll it. So that is something to keep in mind, and is the reason why I spec into that. Next, I take all the essence nodes. So the essence was more of a test initially to see how many rares I would get extra in my maps, and overall it ended up just being good in terms of currency as well, because essences are very expensive right now. I do bring around Remnants of Corruption with me to corrupt all the purple essences, so that's Envy, Misery, Scorn, and Dread, and I make sure that I corrupt those to potentially get a T0 essence, and yeah, it's just a little bit of extra nice profit. Harbinger was just to add extra mobs. Strongboxes was to add extra mobs as well, and also to additionally get operative strongboxes. I block some mechanics that I do not like or do not want to run. So I'm blocking Expedition, I'm blocking Sacred Grove, I'm blocking Legion, Mirror of Delirium because we are using the Sextant, and Metamorph. So this is completely up to you what you do block. Although, like for example, some people like Legion, so you might want to unblock Legion. You might want to block Ritual Altars, for example, or you might want to unblock all of these. It doesn't really matter what you block. It's just completely up to you and what you feel like your build can handle, and you know, how much fun you're having doing that. Yeah, that is completely up to you. It's not really mandatory at all to have exactly what I have. Next, I like the map nodes. The map nodes is because maps actually sell for quite a lot. So strands actually sell for 4 chaos each, and that is a big part of where our profit is coming from. We are dropping a ton of maps. You know, we're over sustaining by 2-fold, maybe 3-fold. So yeah, taking the map nodes is really good, and we are also taking singular focus. Because we are running strand, that means that we are dropping a lot of strands, but then we also favored one thicket map, and thicket sells for 3C and strand sell for 4C in bulk. So you'd be able to just basically get only these 2 maps and a ton of them. So what you want to do is you want to have strand favorited on all of your favorite slots, and then one thicket map since it's adjacent. And the reason for that is because you have a lot of these nodes right here you see that have a 2% chance to drop an additional connected map, meaning you'll be dropping a lot of thickets as well as strands. But if you do not have it favorited, that means that you won't be dropping any connected maps at all. So make sure to have that there. Next I want to talk to you about these Delirium nodes. So these Delirium nodes are actually what is getting us a bulk of our splinters. This is going to be making it easier for you to run your map and loot as you go, because I have been looting as I go. That is something very important to do to actually maximize your efficiency in these maps. We are no longer giga juicing like we used to, so we do not have to actually like rush our maps anymore and loot after, which is another really nice part about mapping this way. Is you have one inventory, you go to the end of the map, you kill the boss, you take your daily rewards, and you leave, and that's it. That's really nice. So yeah, I'm taking Singular Eternity. One thing to note is that you might want to watch out for the fog. A little timer will pop up here sometimes, and it will tell you that you are running out of the fog. So be mindful of that. Do not outrun the fog when you have this node. And some mechanics that actually pause the fog maybe a little bit too long, or ritual, for example. If you're running breach, standing inside of a breach will pause the fog. If you're doing a legion, for the entire time the legion is in stasis, as well as a few seconds after you're killing it, your fog will pause. So those are just things that you got to get a feel of as you're running the maps, and yeah, you'll get the hang of it after a while if you run a few maps. Descent into Madness is the really difficult node here. So when you get to about 7 rewards in your Delhi map, this will be pretty much equivalent to 100% Delirium with this node. This node gives us a lot of our Simulacrum spinners. However, if you are not able to actually run this node, you should be pathing to the bottom here and taking Singular Eternity, or maybe not even taking any of these at all. So that is completely up to you. Whether you take these, something that you'll have to feel out. Whether you can handle it or not is up to yeah, it's up to your build, and up to you as a player as well. So make sure to despec that if the maps are too hard, and you can always look at your profits, look at the cost of your map, and calculate whether you're actually making worthwhile investment and profit returns from doing that. And yeah, I'm running blue altars. Blue altars overall in this kind of juice have always netted me more altars, so that is why I spec into those. And I'm always looking for Ichor altars, Mapic currency altars, and basic currency altars as well. Quantity and rarity isn't that great anymore unless you encounter a touch rare, so it's kind of like a little gamble where you want to take those, but you kind of do want to watch out for some of the negative modifiers on them, as they are doubled with Eldritch Gaze. But the upside is also increased by 50%, so that is why I take Eldritch Gaze. Another thing that you might maybe want to skip out on if your build can handle it is yeah, Eldritch Gaze. So yeah, and I'm also taking Rapid Growth in all of the pack size nodes, as well as the additional chance for an extra altar. And yeah, that is going to net us a lot of our profits when we're pretty much Alkengo mapping. So yes. The next would be Enduring Influence. So this is what allows us to actually spam Sextants. So yeah, Enduring Influence allows us to roll Sextants, and Sextants is actually, like, Sextant rolling is actually pretty insane. Because you are actually rolling Sextants both for yourself, you are over-sustaining Sextants because of the mapping currency shrine that you do find in maps. So you'll never have to buy Sextants yourself if you are doing this strategy. And additionally, you might be rolling Sextants that are good for other people. So in my scenario, I rolled a bunch of these. So you can see final map drops additional Conquer map, and this is currently selling for, I think it's around 90 to 100 Chaos at the moment. So if we check here the buyout price for Chaos Orbs, so it's 150 Chaos for this Sextant, and this is one to like look out for, definitely. There are other ones to look out for. You can see that I rolled 2 in 100 maps. There's Sacred Grove as well. Double Runic Monsters is pretty good too. Maps found in the area have additional 8 modifiers, so this one's like 80 Chaos. Legion Encounters, I think, about 50 Chaos. So there's a lot of Sextants that you might be rolling that you do not use, that are essentially like very good for other people that you might want to keep. And what I do is I basically just keep these Sextants here, and over time I sell them after I price them. And yeah, that is another benefit of rolling your own Sextants. You're always going to profit from doing that, and you're always going to be adding extra juice to your maps, which is pretty damn good. So now let's look at the numbers. In 100 maps, I spent a total of 2,250 Chaos on my materials. Meaning, sorry, that breakdown is throughout all of these materials. So I rolled 100 Elder Scarabs. I bought them at 2C each. I bought Rusted Harbinger Scarabs at 0.5C each. I don't know why that's running that up to 1. It must be like something I did here. Rusted Ambush, I bought them at 4C each. Polished Breach, I bought them at 1C each. Sextants, I bought 2C each for the Sextants. And then I rolled 100 Sextants overall for these maps. Fortune Favors the Brave for 3C, although I do personally actually recommend using Ambush over Fortune Favors the Grave. It's much better than Fortune Favors if you're doing like low investment mapping. Fortune Favors ends up being a lot better later on if you do like more juicing. Like, so if, for example, if you buy 3 other Sextants that add more monsters, adding pack size is actually more beneficial. But I think Ambush overall for this mapping strategy is better. It's just that I wanted to test Fortune Favors the Brave. So in this scenario, that's what I did, but I do recommend going for Ambush instead. It's 1 extra Chaos, and it will net you a lot of currency from all of the Scarabs that you drop. So that is much better to do that way. And the total cost was 2,250 chaos. And I earned a total of 12,021 chaos over 100 maps. That is excluding all the small currencies and also excluding the sextants that I rolled, and also listing all the deli orbs at non-bulk price. Meaning I made a total profit of 98 chaos per map, and I ran a map in around 6 to 7 minutes, depending on, you know, yeah, my efficiency or whatever. But that is going to be changing depending on how fast you are, how efficient you are, and how fast you're mapping in general, how fast you set up. So I didn't really want to put a chaos per hour thing here, because that is completely irrelevant to whoever's running this strategy. It's just more about how much you earn per map and how fast you run your own maps. Talking about the deli orbs, it's something that is not listed for bulk price. So these deli orbs here, you might think that you control them and it's like, it says like 4 chaos, but if you have a stock of 10, they're actually selling for 9 chaos, so you can almost get twice as much out of having bulk for delirium orbs. So you definitely want to keep this, you know, keep these until you have bulk, and then you want to bulk sell them for their price. So these are like 12 chaos in bulk, so make sure to check that out. Do not get scammed on those, and always sell for bulk. Simulacrums will basically just be dictated by, you know, people have bulk on these, so you just look at the divine orb price. People are selling 5 of them for 2 divines, so that's what you'll be selling them at. And yeah, the rest is maybe contracts. Contracts, you only sell deception at this point. Deception are really expensive, but the other ones are not worth it at all. So yeah, make sure to only pick up deception. And for your maps, the maps is another big one. You can see that we actually dropped a lot of maps. I actually bought 60 maps off myself, so I would have dropped 180 maps in this test. And what I did for that is I added a bunch of chaos to my tab, and I bought some of my maps off myself because I was running out. So yeah, I actually bought 60 maps on myself, so we dropped 180 strands and 95 thicket maps. So you'll be selling those for 3C, and you'll be selling strands for 4C in bulk. And that is a big bulk of our profit. We dropped 11 divine orbs in 100 maps, which is, I feel like, a little bit unlucky because of touch monsters. You know, they could potentially drop like 2 to 3 divines, but in this case we only got about 4 of them in 100 maps. It's not so bad, but it's also not great. And yeah, and then we got Ichors. Ichors are selling for 2C each in bulk, and those are very nice. There's a lot of currency. We got fusing orbs from dropping 6 links. We still drop a lot of 6 links, and ancient orbs, as I said, they can drop, or they can roll for like 14 chaos each. And that is pretty much the bulk of our profit. Overall, I really like this strategy. It's just something I enjoy running is Delirium. I enjoy how low maintenance it is now compared to what it used to be. You know, I used to buy 4 sextants, and I used to run full juice. I do miss juice myself. I do really miss Beyond, and you know, dropping like corrupted items and corrupted maps and all that kind of stuff. That was my preferred gameplay, but I mean, this is what the game has become, and overall I just feel like it's the closest I can get to like a low maintenance fun strategy in this game. There is much more advanced juicing strategies this league, although I don't think they're really worthy of a video because of how micromanagement intensive they are, and how difficult they are to run for the majority of the player base. So I felt like this one was a strategy that I could share, since it's like very easy for people to run, and could net you a decent amount of profit in the long run. Even in the short run, to be honest, because you are making pretty much a guaranteed profit. There's no real outlier drops aside from maybe the screaming invitations, but if you run enough maps, you'll eventually get, you know, you'll get a ton of screaming invitations. Like, we only got 3 there, and I'm nearing the 4th one, so yeah. So I mean, very good mapping strategy. I really recommend it. If the Delirium Scarab goes up in price, what you can do is you can duplicate this sheet here and say like, the Delirium Mirror Sextant is now 60 chaos. You go like that, boom, you import that in, and look at that. It's still 93 chaos profit per map. Even if it goes to like, let's say like 100 chaos, which is like quite ridiculous, I don't think it'll ever get to that. We're still earning 83 chaos per map, but hopefully that does not happen. So yeah, you can use this sheet, import all of the costs that you are putting, how many maps you're running. Keep in mind that this is multiplied by 100, so this is if you were to run 100 maps. This is the profit you'd be getting. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed the little rundown of my mapping strategy, and I hope you guys make some currency. And I do miss juicing, but yeah, thanks guys.